Okay. So I will talk tonight about design of book covers and one project called Sarajevo Bumbac. So I was born in Sarajevo and I finished art academy in Montenegro. And what another people say about my work is that my work is fresh and contemporary and easily communicates with an international visual language through playful typography and graphics. And my project being about worldwide and publishing some books and many books and magazines. And I was president of Bosnian Association of Applied Artists and Designers from 2006 and 2010. Also, I work in some advertising agencies, design studios, but in the last period, I work as a freelance designer and also like designer of one of the biggest book publisher, by book, and I work a lot of book covers. So maybe first of all to start with book covers for Bosnian authors. It was very nice to work for writers from Bosnia, which you already know, and this is a cover for a book for my friend Aleksandra. It is one of my last projects. It's called book called Čovjek iz podruma, the man from basement. And before we find a final solution for a book, I tried to make some illustration, good typography for that book. But also this author, he knows what he needs on his book, so we had, I think, 30 sketches for final book cover, and we worked on it for several months. This is final product. It's actually Bosnian book, but also I prepare on English translation. Also some important Bosnian writers is Ivo Andrić, and I don't know, maybe you heard about him. It's also Nobel Prize awarded in literature, and his writings dealt mainly with life in his native Bosnia under the Ottoman Empire. And it was very good, nice pleasure to work book cover for Ivo Andrić book. So one of them is Travnička Hronika or Chronicles of Travnik, and somewhere they translate like Bosnian Chronicles. So it's serial of Ivo Andrić books, which I try to use illustration, my drawings, which are connected with story in book, with text. And also I made so many drawings which I later use for these 3 cover books for Ivo Andrić. So I always research and try to make good illustration before I start to make book covers, and like to use so much illustration made by hand. Then later I try connect this hand drawing with the computer. Also one moment in this book, because they have this square, this punched, how to say, and you can watch through book cover. Also some bookmarks. This is another book, it's Turkish stories. I connect this book with similar style of illustration, but I use different colors. Somewhere I use this red backbone, and green, but they have same design, same style of design. And this book, Na Drini Čuprija, or Bridge on the River Drina. There are some photos of books, some maybe advertising for books. Another Bosnian writer is Faruk Šejić. I don't know, maybe you heard about him. He's not Nobel awarded writer, but he got award Meša Selimović and the European Award for Literature. He also my friend, and it's maybe easy to work book for somebody who already knows and with somebody who can talk with him about the book. And this book, Knjiga o Uni, or book about River Una, got awarded. And after that, many publishers in Regia and worldwide was interesting to publish his book. So I also made some book covers for Serbian publisher, for Macedonian publisher, and what was new for second edition of this book, I made illustration for every story in book. So it was also interesting because somehow it's nice to see illustrations which are connected with the text in book. And later I tried to present that illustration of different stuff like the tote bags and also some badges or magnets. And yeah, this story book named Proljeće, Spring, I also used on tote bags. So it's very interesting read text for illustrating books. It is different way to reading books. Everybody asks me, am I read all books which I made? But it's totally different way when designer planning to design book cover, because it's different kind of how a designer reading book than just a reader for book. Also, this is another book cover for one Bosnian author, but he lives in Croatia. It's a book about poetry book, and all pages inside are designed. It used this Rorschach test in this book, and it's also awarded on Collegium Artisticum exhibition in Sarajevo 2006. These are books made for some worldwide authors. Some of them are bought by worldwide publishers. They like my covers, so they ask me, shall I give them or sell them this cover? So some of them are sell, like this Bosnian edition and this Dutch edition of the same book. Also, I work a lot of books for Turkish writers, like this Elif Shafak. Maybe you heard about her. So it's 40 Rules of Love. It's a book about Sufi mystic Rumi and his way from dervish to poet. And there are phases how to make illustration and phases of making book cover. I always play with this typography which connected with illustration. I was always thinking which kind of font I will use when making book cover. Fonts need to be connected with illustration and with story in some way. There are also some sketches for these books, different covers. And this is cover with shoes. We also need to send to main Aleph Shafak publisher book, and they choose actually which one cover will be published. Sometimes I like some another book cover, but I need to deal also with author or publisher, and everybody have different kind of expectation, like how book it looks like. Also, I like so much to choose my illustration to present on some different stuff. So not just leave it on book covers. So I use this dervish on some bags, on some pouches and magnets, badges. Also another one, Turkish writer, Orhan Pamuk. It's a cover for book Zovem se Crvena, My Name is Red. Another one, Snow. Also before I finalize cover, I have many different sketches. So this is one of the drawing for this book. For me, best cover was this one, but on the end, the publisher chose this one. Like some. Also some Nobel Prize writer, it's Mario Llosa, and cover for his book, and also some phases how I came to this last version. I also like so much to play with typographic, with fonts and the letters. So these are one of books which I use just letter and on typographic way how to present a book cover. And also those. Like Milan Kundera. I like to play so much with letters and make them like some illustration. Like this one, it's a Japanese writer Kazuo Ishiguro, and his book and later film Never Let Me Go. Also just typographic way to design book. And this is the last book which I work in this moment, and we didn't choose which one cover will go. Maybe you can help me to choose which one. It's for German writer Eugen Kluge.
Bottom left.
Why?
Is this Munich Tower important?
The story is in Berlin and DDR period.
So it demands this information, huh?
So maybe it's important to some small sign put on the book cover too.
Maybe you could use the wall in Berlin.
Okay, also one of my favorite writers and book design. It's for alchemists, for Paulo Coelho book. Book is not just book cover, also it's important to make good layout for book, to choose good typography, for choose a good size of font, headlines. So it's not just book cover, and I also work for layout. Also one of Paulo Coelho books. This is also phases how I came to last version of book cover. These are illustrations and looking for which kind of typography, which kind of font. And also for me, one very good book cover, it's for German-Romanian author Herta Miller. The Fox was the Hunter. She also got a Nobel Prize, I don't know, I think 2010 for literature. And these are also phases how to, which illustration choose, which one is the best for cover, for your story of cover. Also one of the important project for me was make Bosnian illustration for Harry Potter books. You know that everybody everywhere in the world use the same cover for Harry Potter books, so we decide to ask English publisher maybe to make something different, and they like it, and so now Bosnian Harry Potter have totally different book covers. So it's an old story in book cover. So first and second book, and in other books maybe we will work. And what is also for me very interesting to work books and illustration for kids. So there are some examples. It's also for one Bosnian author. Actually, I like a lot to draw animals. To say how to see. And one of my last books, and maybe my first books for a picture book for kids, it's this book Three Sisters. Writer is from Croatia. So we met on some exhibitions, and she liked to write to kids, and I like to illustrate book. So we somehow managed this children book. Also, I work this illustration for packaging. This is packaging for pasta. So I try to choose pasta as a hairstyle. So on this packaging, it's presented like different kind of hairstyle you can make from pasta or from noodles. This is also a project for Mercedes. It's for new smart car. It's for a smart car with 4 seats. So its topic, its slogan was "Smart for 4." Some years ago, my illustration was chosen the book 200 best illustrators worldwide, and it was illustrations called characters, where I present different kind of characters, also with hair. I don't know, in that time I was maybe surprised with hair. Also another my project is redesign of city. Redesign of city is project where I try to present my city on some playful way. There is no war or something similar on this illustration. It's happy, playful, full color. So I try to present Sarajevo in some totally different way. How it started, I researching Sarajevo and making photos. You know, that Sarajevo, it's a small city, but there is a lot of differences. There is a lot of different cultures and religions, and that is very important for Sarajevo. They call it Jerusalem of Europe or Jerusalem of Balkans. So after I made these photos and visiting all part of Sarajevo, Baščaršija, I tried to make symbols of very famous building in Sarajevo, very famous architecture. But also I use some totally unknown part of the city. All these symbols are connected in about 60 different symbols, and I made Dingbat font. Dingbat font from them. I don't know, do you know what is Dingbat font? It's actually pictures which use a font system typography instead of letters. So many years I connect to this Dingbat font, and on the end I decided to make my own. So it was one exhibition which called Some Another City, and first time on that exhibition I present this project. In the same time I try to connect these symbols with letters, because you can install font and use it as Dingbat font on the computer. So I try to connect some symbols of Sarajevo Dingbats with letters. So you can find Latin bridge, cathedral, Sebić, Vijećnica, Idrik. But also some of symbols are not connected with letters. Ali Pasha Mosque, Filjan. You know what is Filjan? Filjan is a small cup for traditional Bosnian Turkish coffee, but in Bosnia it is a very special time to drink coffee with your friends, with your family. It's time to contemplate and talk about something. And it's very popular spending time with coffee or kako se kaže na engleskom, gledaš ovdje.
Čara.
Also, another part of the same project is researching old Bosnian or Sarajevo postcards made 200 years ago, and I use letters and typography which was on this postcard, some Cyrillic, Latinic or Arabic letters, also some letters or words in German, and I tried to make new redesign postcards with same direction, with same design, but using Sarajevo Dingbads to keep the same form, but redesign all postcards. So it looks like that. Also, 1 year ago, I tried to present the Sarajevo Dingbads on different stuff like graphics, also badges and magnets, and made some new, not just the Sarajevo Dingbads. I made new drawing of Sarajevo. So you can see. Also the Sarajevo pouches, the small bags. With some Sarajevo moments, but also kind of Bosnian symbol. I made also one map of Sarajevo, actually part of Baščaršija. I made posters from that and also bags. But you can use also like map and navigators. Tram or Sarajevo in heart, map in heart. Also bookmarks. Oven with Bosnian or Turkish coffee. Oven with tram. But also some another bags using this illustration from book covers. Yeah, also kitchen towels. Bags with Danish. But I also play with paper and maybe some postcards, with cutted postcards, which is not so easy to make, so I didn't make big tirage of that, just two of them. Also some souvenirs made from clay. It's so interesting project, and every time push you to research something new and try to make souvenirs and try to use different kind of materials. After this project was some exhibitions. First of them was one in Sarajevo, where I put the symbols around the gallery, actually on glass of the gallery. So it looks like that. Then in Japan, in Sapporo, it's also a gallery, something similar like in Sarajevo. Then in Shanghai, where Bosnia had their own pavilion. So they presented in that pavilion not just my work, also work of my colleagues, artists. Also in Pompidou Center in Paris, in one bookstore where we present one book about Sarajevo art. And 2 or 3 years ago, European Union made some short movie about Sarajevo. So I also was included in that movie. So maybe for the end, maybe we can watch the movie. And that's it. Am I short?
You'll have a chance to ask you questions after the movie.
Okay.
If there are any, but I'm sure there are questions.
a city of great cultural diversity and heritage. Architecture from different eras shapes the city. Here we meet Nina Knezevic, a successful local artist and designer. She'll take us on a walk in her favourite neighbourhoods. Not long ago, she drafted a set of pictograms which resembled the favourite sites of her hometown.
Dobrodošli u Sarajevo. Welcome to Sarajevo.
Sarajevo is like a bridge through time and a bridge between East and West. The city's unique history inspired Nina to create her own Sarajevo font, which reflects the famous structures of her hometown and its many cultural roots. Although the earliest history of the Sarajevo Valley dates back to the Neolithic era, it wasn't before the end of the 15th century that the settlement was established as a city. The name Sarajevo derives from the Turkish Saray Ovasha, meaning the field around a palace. The old town is the touristic centre of Sarajevo. It's been carefully restored and displays the heritage of the Ottoman period. Since Nina Knezevic was born in Sarajevo, she has a very close and emotional connection to the town.
Za mene je moj grad važan zato što sam tu rođena, odrasla, stekla prijatelje, imam rodbinu, znači nisu važne samo arhitektura, nego je puno važan duh tog grada.
Accordingly, Nina works from her home office in the centre of the city. Among other things, she designs book covers, fonts, postcards and t-shirts. She relies on using playful typography and graphics to make her work fresh and contemporary.
Volim u dizajnu zato što pruža mogućnost možda spajanja i starijih tehnika umjetnosti sa nekim novim tehnikama korištenja kompjutera i sl. Moja ideja, poruka za umjetnost je zadržite dijete u sebi.
The projects of Nina Knezevic have received awards around the world, and they've been published in design magazines and books. In addition to her work as a freelance designer, she's president of the Association of Applied Artists and Designers of Bosnia and Herzegovina. In that role, she's also responsible for the management of a gallery in the city centre. After work, Nina sometimes attends one of the small but extraordinary cultural events in town. Today, there's a one-night exhibition in a historical cinema. Sarajevo is the centre of the country's vivid, young and cutting-edge art scene. As a contrast to the busy town life, Nina sometimes looks for some silence in the city's surroundings.
Nadam se da ste uživali u ovom malom putovanju u Sarajevo i da se vidimo uskoro.
Questions? Do we have any? Please.
First of all, it's really good pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming. My question is, the writers, authors, do they affect you? Like, when you design something, do they say, hey Nina, it's okay, but it's better to put or remove something? Do they affect you, basically?
Yes, of course. Yes, but always you can explain to writers what you wish to say in that book covers. Everybody has their vision how book covers have to look, but I really try to listen a writer what they expect and also translate on my language, on design language. But I don't know. I think that writers have good talk with me, good connection, and we don't have so much problems to make good covers. Usually they like or they surprise what I did, but also this my friend Nihat, he was so push me and expecting something that he knows what he wants, but on the end it was very, very good book cover. So sometimes it's good when a writer push you and expecting more and maybe telling some secret words from book, because I don't have always time to read all book, and it's different way how designer read the book. So maybe sometimes it's good that writer a book give you some way, some private direction. Who will favorite?
Edna, first then Zoe.
I really like your style. What influenced it?
But maybe that's it what I was saying. This movie, keep child in yourself. A really balance between some child or some I don't know, naive illustration with maybe good draw and interesting typography. So I don't know who influenced me, but of course many books, other books, magazines, films, but maybe I also working on my own style. Thank you.
So in past semester I used your pictograms for one assignment, and because I just found some, low resolution photo, and I traced it and everything. I want to ask you, is there any way we can download it or buy it or something? Because I think it's very useful for many things. The font itself.
Yeah, that font exists on internet to download, but just for private use, not for commercial use. So if everybody uses for commercial
I thought
use,
it could be bought or something.
It was free on the internet, I think on our website. But also I would not like that people now use for commercial project, just maybe for private, because I work on that.
Do we have more questions?
We were talking about the first direction of the writers that you were getting from them. I'm quite interested. I mean, you had some really amazing work right there, and I'm very interested in your personal involvement in the work that you were doing. Well, pretty much all artists around here, and you had your own artistic language of sorts that was evolving, doing different book covers. And one of the things that really interested me in your particular case was what was not just the inspiration, but what was the kind of the workload and your own personal input that you were investing in this kind of work. For instance, you presented us the work which has the theme from that German author, which has the theme of Berlin, and you made like 4 or 5 different book covers. What makes you make them in the first place? Is that your own personal insight to the thing? Is your own just you've been to Berlin, or is it something that you are kind of following what the writer and the buyers would like?
So this book is connected with Berlin and period of DDR. So also I try to put some connection on book cover. But because I work for one publisher also always have a vision of how that book cover needs to look like. So we always have some talk about that, what we put, which kind of color, and after that I working on book covers.
So along these lines, you're kind of evolving your own personal touch to the old. Could you, if you would make a timeline of sorts, how long have you been working for this publisher?
How long I
Yes,
work?
how many years?
Maybe 5 years.
So if you would put like 5 years ago and now, could you see like different line of sorts that you were working on?
So maybe somebody else can better talk about that, who saw my books when I started to work for publisher until now. but I think that's it's same style, but maybe progress now. Maybe it's, I recognize my way. I find some way how to make a good book cover.
And what would your suggestion to somebody who is also interested and have like this kind of not just possibility but also idea to do something like that? What would your suggestion would be how to evolve in this specific or non-specific period of time?
As a designer, you always need to research what another designer's work, and always make to one step more, because the step more it's always important. Maybe it's step with some with a good print, maybe some new colors like Pantone colors, or maybe make some cut of book, which how I make on this Ivandrić book, make a hole inside. So try always make to next step. Everybody, every designers may be thinking very similar. We have, all of us, we have similar ideas. And just that one step can separate you from another designers, like step in the future, or I don't know, something different. Or, some years ago, Penguin Books made very nice book covers. They were totally empty, and they invite to writers to make their own book covers. It's also something interesting. No designer, actually it was designer, but he made books just with blank paper and invite writers to make her own book cover. It's also an interesting idea.
Firstly, I'm a foreigner here. I come from Istanbul. And when I came here, first thing I realized was there are so many artists here in Sarajevo. Wherever you look, you find an artist, especially visual artist. So I always wondered what is the reason Sarajevo can produce so many artists, let's say. Have you ever thought about this?
What is the reason?
You know, Sarajevo is producing... I mean, yeah, it's true, because in Istanbul there are more than 50 million people, and we don't have so many artists like here. This is 350,000 of them.
I'm not sure. I think it's also Istanbul good artist and designer, but maybe Sarajevo it's smaller, and maybe easily you can show your work. And in cities where are so many designers, maybe it's not easily present your work or be one of the famous or top designers in that city. So maybe it's also a good occasion, because in Sarajevo it's small, and when you're good or very good, you can come on the top of designers, and people can see your work.
Any more questions? Please.
This is actually another question, just my opinion about your work. I'm a student of architecture in Sarajevo, and I was very impressed by your pictograms of the city, and I think your work is very beautiful. So I think that you gave the spirit of the city through very, very simple icons of the city, which represents the city very good. And I think that making something very simple but sending a very deep message is always the problematic thing. So in my opinion, you challenged that very well.
Thank you.
May I ask one question? As an artist and designer, actually, are you, and if you do, how much do you have to compromise when working on certain, to say so, assignment with clients, or with your intent to show something, to create some visual communication? Are you compromising with them and with yourself and trying to produce some kind of communication that is going to be public soon after the realization of the project?
I think that in Sarajevo, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's very hard to produce something, innovative design or contemporary design, because public or clients who looking for design, don't know how it looks contemporary design. So in the same time, you should educate your clients what they need to have for their good promotion, what they need to looking for, which kind of design. So it's hard work in Bosnia and Herzegovina to work design.
How much they obey the standards that you are trying to impose them through your professional engagement in projects? How much are they accepting the fact that you are providing work to them?
It also think of mentality, or I don't know, or also some clients saw somewhere a good design or some design and looking from you, or give you some design and looking from you to make the same. So it's also challenge how to deal with that, to explain them maybe you will make something new or something better. So it's always some kind of fight with clients. But this clients, this book publisher, it's very good and believe to me, so I don't have that problem.
So actually building the relationship between you and the clients is the answer maybe to this, is it? While establishing a better relationship in communication, you are succeeding in
yes.
Doing your own ideas. Okay. Any more?
I was thinking about to make book cover design series for my thesis. So what can you advise to me? I mean, in the process, which kind of problems I can get, or I should think about more.
I think that you should watch for good photo or good illustration, and also for good font or typography. It's also very important part of book covers. Typography or font that you choose.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you very much. It was